In this video, I'm going to show you how you can treat your poker career as a startup business. This is a topic that's been connecting with a lot of viewers in our circle lately, and I wanted to do a very concise breakdown of how this works. So the number one mistake that most poker players make right away is that they don't take the time to select their strategy through a risk-adjusted lens. Now, this is a business concept, but you need to understand it if you want to maximize your returns. So let's pretend we were starting a business and we have our initial investment. We could call it 1. Our objective is to optimize for an outsized return of 100 or even 1000x. So if we wanted to do that in the most intelligent way, the most important step would be picking a strategy that could get us from 1 to say 20 as efficiently and reliably as possible. The reason that 1 to 20 jump is so important is because everything after 20 is where you start enjoying compound returns. So knowing that if you were going to pick a strategy through a risk-adjusted lens, you would select a strategy that was proven to get you from 0 to 20 as effectively as possible. So the thing you need to understand about poker is that there's really only 2 strategic paths. There's the data-driven path, and there's everything else. So let's think of 2 different guys. We'll call guy 1 Dave. Dave uses a data-driven strategy. He takes objective feedback at every turn because he's reviewing his sample in a way that actually exposes his biggest leaks. Everything he does, he can get feedback on. He takes the feedback, it's rinse and repeat all the way to the top. And then you got Mark. Mark likes the instinctual. He doesn't use any real advanced database software. He might view some sims, but he has no accountability to his strategy. Every session for him is just wandering all over the game tree. Mark is stuck at small stakes year after year at a much higher rate than Dave is. That is the difference between the data-driven strategy and the instinctual path. It is simply the rate at which you succeed at breaking free from small stakes and climbing towards high stakes. Now, if you want to go be Mark, by all means, that's your choice. In fact, I was Mark at one point in my life. Back in 2016, I almost quit poker entirely due to a shortage of reliable strategies. I would go play my session every day, and I would have no way of really knowing whether or not the stuff I was doing was correct. And at the end of the day, I would look at myself in the mirror and I would say, you know that you don't actually have a good reason for why you played those hands that day. And this haunted me to the point where it destroyed my confidence. I couldn't look my friends and family members in the eye and tell them I play professional poker for a living because deep down, I knew I didn't have a reliable system. This was a huge blow to my ego at the time because I really wanted to believe that I was going to be the type of player who could navigate to the top on instincts. At the end of the day, I had to admit that just wasn't true because someone with great instincts would have been making way more money than I was. This was the period of my life where I took a big step back and I asked myself, if I'm going to continue with poker as a career choice, what is it that I'm really going to need? I didn't just need a system. I needed something that was going to help me feel like I could trust myself and that made me different from every other poker player that just slaps money on the table and acts like they know what they're doing. So I decided I needed a system that would be clear, proven, and reproducible. And that's why I ended up going down Dave's path instead of Mark's. So just to recap, you got Mark's path, which is objectively unreliable and is going to require that you actually have great instincts in order to make it work. Then you have Dave's path, which is a proven, reproducible system that anybody can follow if you can just nail the instructions. So the decision is really yours. You got to decide, do I want to go down the instinctual path and gamble on my future? Remember, some people make this path work, but for every Stewie Younger, there's 1,000 guys who thought they had great instincts and didn't. You never hear about those guys. The other path, the data-driven path, is as reliable as baking a cake. The only risk is the executionary risk, meaning if you can follow instructions, you will succeed on the data-driven path. That made me feel really good when I saw that at a time where I knew if somebody would just hand me the instructions, I could figure this out. In fact, I don't even need to figure it out. I'm just gonna follow them because my work ethic was never the question. That's what I really want to get across to you. If you're sitting there feeling like Mark and like, have this sense that you're not reaching your potential because there's not clear instructions, that means you're the type of guy who should be on a data-driven path. Your only constraint is that no one's giving you the map. And this is a huge point. The marks of the world usually have huge logistical constraints that they're not even aware of. The marks of the world choose a unaccountable path because they're unaccountable people. The data-driven path is for an accountable person who already knows they have the work ethic and they just need the instructions to make that shit work. All right, so at this point you have all the information. You know what these two paths look like. They both have unique futures. The real question that you need to ask yourself is, which one is a better fit for me? They both have their own unique future, and you could technically go down either one. In fact, a part of you is probably anchored on the mark path right now. That path has a unique future. It does contain a lot of insecurity by nature. It doesn't have proven answers. So the real question that you're asking yourself, hopefully at this stage, is which future am I killing off today? Do I really want more of the path of uncertainty, or would I rather have something proven and reliable that I can rest my hat on at the end of the night? Figure out if you're a marker, Dave. I'm curious, and leave it in the comments below.